Hey folks, Dennis Foster here for Focused Outdoors Television. Today we're going to be on our second stage of our South Dakota spring turkey hunt. We just wrapped up a Black Hills hunt, had a very successful hunt, had a great time in the Deadwood area. Probably one of the more exciting aspects for me personally is we just got shipped in the very first models of the SAR import shotguns, specifically the SAX 700, to use for this hunt. Performed flawlessly on the hunt. Fed it some Fiocchi golden turkey loads. Definitely down a turkey one-shot deal there. Now what we're going to do is branch out into the prairie of western South Dakota, and where we ended up is about 30 miles east of the town of Sturgis, South Dakota. Obviously very famous for the motorcycle rally there. Thanks to Larry Bennett, he got us on a couple ranches out there, extensive properties, a totally different style of hunting. This is open range country, cattle country. The only trees per se are to be found in deeper draws, flowing creeks and intermittent creeks. With that being said, Larry knew where some of these birds were roosting, and we'd set up a blind in preparation for that. The issue being, this is a little bit later in the season. These birds had been hunted before, a little bit wary, and in that open country, I think that makes them a little bit spookier because they know their surroundings, and any tiny little thing that looks different they're aware of. With that being said, when we went out, we had a rainy, just a crappy kind of a day. And the birds come out of the roost, they weren't moving much, they weren't talking much either. And when they did move, they actually moved away from us. We totally switched up tactics, got very aggressive with the birds, and started trying to stalk them. The issue that we had is they continually had the high ground on us. They knew where we were. We tried to use an intermittent creek to try to sneak up on them. Probably never got within maybe 100, 125 yards of them, and they would move on. For the second day, we totally changed our tactics. We took and set up a blind in a different portion of the same intermittent creek. Thought maybe we could intercept the birds on their movements. We did intercept them, but once again, they weren't terribly talkative. They'd answer a little bit and then just kind of blow by us. The interesting part of this is then we totally switched things up. We had the Honda Pioneer with us, loaded up, prepared to get super aggressive, travel across the prairie, and with that we ended up having some success. Stick around, check out the action, and you'll see what I mean. getting used to these SAR gas autos here. We've got our prairie bird with one, and I just wanted to get a little more, or excuse me, got our hills bird. Wanted to get a little more comfortable with it because we're probably going to have some longer shots of these prairie birds. We're actually trying a few stocks, haven't been successful yet. But with this is giving me a lot more confidence here. And something kind of interesting to note, this is just a factory full choke, which did a fine job as far as I'm concerned. Once again, for a novice, you don't need to drop a bunch of money. It's kind of low-cost entry to get into this. And with that, you know, if you're like I am now, I'm going to start going out and getting the buddies and everything you can think of. I can fish dozens of calls and so forth.
Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we have customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds. Make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Make your next day on the water even better with Airwave Pedestal, the only air suspension system that can be custom adjusted to the weight of the rider. No unreliable springs, no oil-filled shocks to leak. Our patented design utilizes a two-stage suspension system to smooth out the roughest ride, while limiting travel to an industry-leading 2 inches. This boating season, enjoy your time on the water to the fullest. Find out how at airwavepedestal.com.
Dakota Pheasant Guide offers the best wild pheasant hunts from the Glacial Lakes area of South Dakota west to the Missouri River. Packages available include everything from self-guided to fully guided hunts. Book your bird hunting adventure now. Fishermen, iTime Promotions is your ticket to an enjoyable and successful day on the water. Call Dennis Foster for your outdoor adventure of a lifetime.
Hey folks, as you saw on day one of our western South Dakota prairie turkey hunt, the conditions were a little bit tough, and by God, the birds, they just flat give us a slip no matter what we tried to do there. With that, day two dawned with a lot nicer day. We set up in a different area in a blind, obviously helps with the camera. We did intercept the birds. They knew darn sure we were there. They'd respond a little bit, but we just could not pull them in. With that being said, scratching our heads there as they topped a hill, I came up with the concept of, being that they went over a hill, they had the high ground the previous day. By doing so, they gave us the high ground. And what we did is we literally snuck up on these birds. And by doing so, we kind of took a real cautious approach because they knew we were there. And I topped a ridge 3 different times until we got sight of the birds. And it so happened that they were in a very corner of a fence line. So that allowed us the advantage of knowing exactly where they were. We found that fence line on the opposite side of the hill, followed it up. By God, they were there. And it's kind of an exciting way to hunt, unconventional at best, but effective, is we literally jumped up over the hill, charged the birds, and with the Prairie situation, you get 2 tags. So we actually had 2 toms that we could kill. The birds were tightly clustered in that corner. And with that, when I popped over the hill, we're actually able to cycle a couple of rounds of the Fiocchi Golden Turkeys through the new SAR SAX 700 and bagged 2 of the birds. I couldn't have asked for a better result, particularly after a tough day 1. Stick around, check out all the action.
With a piece in my hand and bloodshot eyes, I walked to the water for a last goodbye. He begged so much, it clouded my mind. One thing's clear, the man's gotta die. Night makes right, so he said, when he held all the keys over our head. I lived in that grip, but now he'll learn at the end with the tables turned. Lord, forgive me. Take me on down the river where the guilt can't find a red-handed sinner. On where the grave can't cry out, 'cause I done wrong. Down the river with a hand on a Colt and a finger on the trigger, and before dawn they try to find me. Just take me on down. Take me on down. I sank that body by the riverbank, breathing down my neck and breathing hard.
That bird's definitely much bigger. Well, what we've been doing all morning is sitting in a ground blind, watching birds a couple hundred yards away, and it looks to me like they're using these ridges so they can see on both sides because this country's so open. And they eventually had left, and we popped over 2 other spots, and they went there, and we had not close enough, and we'd seen them kind of down in this corner. I believe that's where we were looking at them initially. We come over here and popped over and just kind of literally took about 10-12 steps on a rush and popped over the hill and you know, caught him off guard and was able to stroke a couple down here. But we got her done. All right. Another quick note here as we tag these birds is the season runs quite long, so there's plenty of time to do this. And the nice thing about that is, starting April 11th, we can have snow on the ground or potentially spring blizzards in that period. And also, these birds are not necessarily easy to get, especially I found out here on the prairie. That gives you a few different shots to come out, you know.
Gives you a good window.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's pretty generous as far as the season goes, I think.
Yeah. Gives you plenty of time to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Exactly. And if you don't get your bird, it's a good reason to come out here because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Alrighty. It's gonna look good with blood on it. Over in May. There we go. Bird number 2. Wasn't the straightest job in the world, but it'll work.
High Point Pet Foods presents Country Creations Dog Foods, offering quality nutrition for the life of your canine companion. To fuel the fire of puppyhood into keeping the energy level high of an active young dog, optimizing the performance of the hard-charging adult, or having a quality diet for your senior canine companion. Country Creations has you covered with their quality formulas. Get in touch with High Point Pet Foods today. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we have customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds. Make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Dakota Pheasant Guide offers the best wild pheasant hunts from the Glacial Lakes area of South Dakota west to the Missouri River. Packages available include everything from self-guided to fully guided hunts. Book your bird hunting adventure now. Fishermen, iTime Promotions is your ticket to an enjoyable and successful day on the water. Call Dennis Foster for your outdoor adventure of a lifetime.
All right, still a little bit out of breath here. We shifted from the Black Hills down onto the Prairie to shoot some birds and get 2 tags on the Prairie. And yesterday was our first day doing that, and it was rainy and windy and cold. It was just not a good day, and the birds weren't vocal at all. And we chased them around, literally walked around trying to stalk them a little bit. Had no success with that. Maybe got within 100 yards of them at best. These birds we watched out of a ground blind. There's very, very few trees, and basically the only trees in the area are in the bottom of an extremely small creek. You could hop over it at most places. The birds were, I don't know if we got them within 100 yards maybe once, and a lot of times probably you were watching from the ridge 200 yards, 300 yards.
Yeah, I was watching them.
And they were moving back and forth and doing their thing, and then they're actually working south, and then they turned around and completely left and worked north. So what we did before we got Larry here to tell us the next game plan is we just went and popped over a couple of these ridges over here, and the second time we looked, we seen these birds in the corner. So we just took a shot at it and worked ourselves behind the ridge, seen them, and then literally just kind of bull rushed them, probably 10 quick steps, popped over the edge, caught them off guard obviously, let the hen scatter out, and was very fortunate to get these two birds, and I tell you, it was not having a lot of time to get a really good beat on them. The Fiocchi golden turkeys did a great job on them. There's no doubt about that, because they are here and they're down. I'll kind of throw it to you, Larry, a little bit. This is actually one of Larry's favorite hunting properties here, so thanks to him, he got us on the ranch out here, knows where the birds are, pretty intimate with them.
Yeah, do a lot of hunting out here. I turkey hunt, do a lot of deer hunting out here. I pretty much know the property in and out. It's basically my cousin, and I've been out here since I was hunting, and I enjoy this place. It always produces a lot of good turkeys, good deer. It's a fun place to be. It really is. And I'm glad you got your birds down. And yesterday, like you said, the rain was just messing with the birds. Were not cooperating. They were doing some really strange stuff. They'd staying way out in the middle of the meadows. They just were not cooperating with us yesterday. And got up this morning and seen the moon was shining and thought, today's the day. They're going to go back to normal, and we're
you could tell they were a little more vocal. You know,
Yeah.
they were gobbling a little bit, and the hens were clucking a little bit. And
Yeah, so I knew today they were going to get back to normal, and we'd get the job done today.
you know, and the really cool part to me and out of this whole trip is the contrast of the hunts. In the heavy forest stuff right in the Black Hills itself, and got our bird. And what was personally satisfying to me is I've been with guys like Larry who know how to call, and they're the only birds I've ever shot. So it was literally my first time calling, and was fortunate enough to find a bird that was, I don't know if he's ignorant enough or what he was, but he responded to it and came in and give us a crack at him. And then you come out here and it's just wide open. It's like, my God, how do you get on the doggone things?
The difference between them is amazing. In the hills, you got a chance to hide behind some stuff, blend in with your background. Out here, these birds can see you a long ways away, and they don't forget. My cousin does let in a few other hunters, so they've been hunting them a little bit. And I tell you, once they see you walk into a ground blind, if they see it, they don't go nowhere near it.
I'd also imagine just anything being, obviously they're running all over these properties, if something's new, they notice it, like, hey, what the heck is that? That wasn't there before.
Yeah, my pickup, they kind of understand my pickup. I'm out here helping out, doing the ranch and part of it during the summer, so they see that. But you set up a ground blind, they walk over the hill and go, I don't like that.
Yeah, this is just cool as all get out. And I tell you what we're going to do now is we'll showcase some of the property here. If the wind doesn't come up, we'll get a drone up and can kind of give you folks a real visual of just how open and how big this country is here.
Beautiful place, absolutely beautiful place. My cousin's been fortunate enough to inherit it from his dad, so it's been in the family for a long time. And I'm a city guy, but I'll tell you, I really enjoy coming out here and playing with the birds and playing with the deer in the fall, and even duck hunting. Duck hunting can be...
Yeah, that's another thing, man. We're seeing
every puddle's got ducks.
Variety of duck you can imagine when we're out here.
Every color, every size, they're all here.
Yep, that leads into something too, just western South Dakota in general, everything we've seen since we've been out here. You know, obviously you're seeing the ducks, we're seeing the Canadian geese. We were looking at buffalo and antelope the other day, goofing around. And
Hungarian partridge, sharp-tailed grouse.
Yep.
They're all here. They're, like I said, this chunk of property carries just about everything.
You know, and I think a lot of it comes back to these ranchers too, because to me anyway, they're a lot more intimate with the land than a typical farmer is.
Well, this is their job. They have to take care of it. You know, and he does a great job of really being a very good steward of the land. So I mean, that's what makes this property so special, is he does take the time, and most ranchers do. And if you just go talk to any of them, you know, and let them know what you're up to, and want to go hunt some birds, most of all of them, as long as you're walking or stuff, they have no problem with it. I mean, they understand.
You know, another thing too, and we're right next to it is he's got just a little dab of patches of some crop ground in here too, and I would imagine that's another really valuable food source for these birds.
That's been left on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, I come out and help him plant, and then like behind us here, we got this stubble field. That was left on purpose. I mean, that was for the game.
Yep.
Literally left for the game.
And then there's surprisingly, it surprised me. I knew there'd be birds out here because obviously Larry wouldn't send us out here if there weren't, but the number of birds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've seen a couple groups of 20 plus birds yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get in the middle of the winter, they all kind of start coming back
Bunch up.
to here. And yeah, he'll have 100, 150 birds here in the wintertime. That winter. Yeah, so we know they're here, and we know what quality of birds are here.
And once again, with the food sources, with the severity of the winter, so they've got the calories to make it through.
That helps out a lot.
Well, perfect. We're going to wrap up this segment here. Stick around. We're going to give you guys a real good view of this after this and wrap up this show.